Alright, at this point a rider has come to me and we're going to load the bike onto the roof of the van. We would load the bike on the roof if a rider was going to, let's say we've gone to the first sag stop and we have another 80 miles to travel. We would put the bike on top because then it's out of the way if we're going to be setting up another sag stop, or if we want to easily and quickly load a bike if we stop and pick somebody up. So if somebody's taking a jump for 10 miles, that means getting in the van for 10 miles, getting it out again, we'll throw it on the back rack. Oh. Otherwise the top. And this is not so tough. Okay, so Debbie has come to me with her bike. She's going to hold it, she's going to take charge of it for the moment, and I'm going to prep the rack. So the first thing is, okay. These are a little awkward, these new clips, but you squeeze it, and pull it out. And what I like to do is take the strap and tuck it behind the outside of the tray, then it's out of my way. Otherwise, I have to get the rear wheel under here. So I'm going to take it and strap it behind, and it gets stuck on those grooves. Second thing is I need to open the front, the nose, and this is where the fork of the bike goes. Okay. So the rack is prepped, ready for me to load the bike. Now what I need to do is take the front wheel off the bike. In Post Road, this is called the quick release lever, and we open this lever, okay, and then we hold the nut on the opposite side and we unscrew, not all the way, just enough for the wheel to fall out. We've opened the brakes. I forgot to say that. Okay. Now we switch. We give Debbie her wheel because then it keeps her out of our way. Well, it does. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pick the bike up in the same way. We're going to grab it on seat 2, and we're going to grab the fork. Same thing, because then we get to control the whole front end of the bike. Okay? We're up like this, and it's the same dynamic. We want to be up here where the bike is balanced. Okay? In the van, we have to actually hop up onto the van, but put the rear wheel into the tray first, because then it gives you some stability. Then put, why don't you come right around to the front so that you can see. Is there, okay, one side of forked nose. This bike is always a little harder. Let's see if I got the back. I don't think I got the back in.
On your way, Tracy. I'm going to the other side. Hang on.
Normally they're much easier than this.
Ooh.
That's okay.
So you can adjust the width of the nut?
Yeah, there's a dial inside, and I'll show you how to do that once we get this closer. There it is.
There
okay.
You go.
Okay. Okay, the 2 fork dropouts, that's a fork dropout, they fit onto the axle of the bike carrier, the bike tray. Okay. Now, if you come around to here, Paula, there is, now I'm holding the bike just gently while I get things settled. There's a dial in here. This is not the easiest dial to work. What we want to do is adjust it so that these nuts go in, clamp down a little bit more onto the frame, the dropout, and then we're going to close this. So we're gonna,
it's like finger tight.
well, actually, what you need to do is open that. That's a little too loose.
Right.
You're actually going to feel the tension on this. This is hard to explain.
I can see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
You've got a good, like,
A lot.
centimeter on either side.
Let's see.
It's way, like
There's something up the loop. This is not a tour rack. Here we go. I think I'm getting closer.
a rolling down type of...
I'm going to put a little cheat sheet, because I always forget little arrows.
That's a good idea.
I always forget on these. Okay, you can see it's getting a little bit tighter. I'm going to go just a little bit more. When I tighten this down, do not crank the heck out of it and then snap it. Okay. If you crank the heck out of it, we've had times when we have not been able to get it open. We've had to actually take a hammer from underneath and whack it. Now, okay, So the front's gone down. The back, I have the stem in the way, so I'm going to move the stem out of the way slightly. Adjust the strap so it comes to the flattest part of the rim.
Does that just
Shadow,
slide,
moving
or is it on
around
a latch? The adjuster.
It just slides back
Okay.
and forth. Yeah, slides back and forth. There's a whole groove.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going in like a boot buckle, actually, like an old-fashioned boot buckle, I guess. Okay, I'm going to open that, push down, and clamp it. Okay.
Do that one more time.
Okay, I'm going to make it a little tighter. Now you can see there's some resistance on here. I'm going to make it a little less. I press this button to release the strap. Okay, you can see there's some, it's tight, it's not killing it, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so that was a hard one to explain. There's no bungee, we don't use any bungees on the bikes up top. Okay, I'm going to go through this whole loading again one more time, but to release, open the buckle, push the toolie thing, push the toolie, push the
Release.
strap, release. Okay, and I like to do the same thing. It just keeps my head in the game with the same procedure all the time. Get the strap over there. Up here, if somebody ahead of you, again, if somebody ahead of you has tightened this down so tight, you may have trouble getting it up. But I like to use two hands, and because then I control, because there have been times when I've gone like this and I've ripped my fingers on the bottom of that. Okay, I'm going to hold the bike and open it. Okay, hold the bike by the fork, grab it up here, pull it out, and same thing. Always the same thing. Okay, and then you can do your thing. Okay, let me. I'm going to go through that one more time, just real quick. Okay, grabbing it, putting it up, and right now my rack is already prepared. My strap is open, the nose is open. Rear wheel goes into the tray first to get it basically standing up, and then move to the front fork, get the dropouts into the axle. Did you get a front view? Did you get a front view yet?
There's a shadow when you
Oh.
get to the front, so all you see is
okay.
black.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to do that.
Okay, so I make my adjustments. I pull it down. There's some resistance, still not crazy tight, and then I snap it. Okay, go back to the rear. I want the strap to come across a nice flat part of the rim. For example, I don't want the strap to come across back here. Okay, into the buckle. Fairly tight, not crazy tight. Okay, and that's it. So it's ready to go. Okay, there will be some wiggle to it, not excessive wiggle. Okay, the wiggle usually comes from the rack itself, typically. Okay. Release, open the buckle, pop the strap, or press the release button, strap out, tuck the strap, come to the nose, open the nose. I still have control of the bike. Control. And then, yeah. Now to put the front wheel on. Let's go. How about if we'll use that. Yeah. Okay, put the front wheel on. I like to grab the bike by the stem because, again, I have control of the handlebars. Quick release lever. The quick release lever on the bike, this always goes, they never go on the side of the bike with the chain. They always go on the opposite side of the chain, side of the bike. Okay, so grabbing it by the stem so I can control the bike any way I want. Okay, wheel goes on, the chain is on this side of the bike, quick release lever goes on this side. Quick release lever is open. Okay. This is open. There's a slight curve. That's closed. Open. You can see the way the curve goes. Oops. Open. Curves slightly out. Closed. Curve slightly in toward the wheel. Okay. We're going to open it back up. What we'll do now is close the brakes with this lever right here, and then I typically ask the rider to come take their bike if they're not panicked and sick. So Debbie, come and grab your bike, and then I'll ask them to squeeze and hold their front brake. So squeeze and hold the front brake. What that does is, before I tighten the quick release lever, it actually centers the wheel. So we don't have to fuss with that.
I like the way
Yeah.
you
Is why she's the boss lady.
So that's an awesome
Yeah.
trick.
And if the rider's not sick and this and that, they're participating and they're out of the road and out of the street, you know. Okay, so I'm tightening. This is too loose. Still open. Now I'm going to come to the other side. I do it slightly quicker way, but this is the easiest. I'm going to tighten this lever, this bolt nut over here. I'm going to try. It's still too loose. Tighten some more. It's getting tighter. Actually, it's very tight. Okay, I'm going to loosen it a little. It only takes slight adjustments with the small nut on the chain side of the bike. Okay, that's fairly tight. If you over tighten the quick release lever, oftentimes people cannot get them open. I've had situations where somebody else has tightened it to the point where I could not get it open. I had to take a screwdriver and leverage it out. So, okay, so this is that's a pretty good right there. I like to, some people will put the quick release lever right up in line with that, but it's very difficult
To get a grip.
Yeah, and some people, actually, Jim Olson, for example, he puts it right against the frame. I can't get it. There's nowhere that I can grab it. This is loose, that's why I could get it. So I like to, even on the rear one, tighten it up, feel the tension, feels pretty good. That's a little tight. And you'll feel a bit of a snap. It's a soft snap. It's not a click, but you'll feel a kind of a snugging snap. Okay, open. Debbie, you had a question?
No, I was just going to say, you always want it facing the back.
Backward,
of the bike.
yeah, face the back of the bike. Always face the back. And the rear wheel the same. So now Debbie's here holding her bike, holding her brake. Now what I'm going to do is grab the stem and give it a spin. That's the fancy way of stopping a bike. When you want to look cool, and you want to show off, take the two brake pads.
Oh. Well, we do want to look cool.
Oh, we do. But we absolutely do.
Better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that's loading the bike. Okay, and cut!